Hello and welcome to OBS. Why did you do this? I did test that it was picking up the tanks client and just what's going on? Right, there we go. Okay. Wow, that was a very smooth start. So, yeah, today I've decided it's probably been long enough for me to avoid all of the people that would have just been being jerks and going and spoiling things for a recent film. I'm sure you can guess which one. And so, yeah, I've decided to venture back into streaming. And as I've actually been playing a little bit of World of Tanks recently with all the Christmas stuff that is available, mainly for the female crew members, I'll say. But, yeah, it's also been a good opportunity to grind myself some credits, because when I started I was about 2 million credits the poorer than this. So, yeah, I've not done too badly out of it. That's mostly not been the Christmas stuff, though. That has, in fact, mostly been doing the SPG missions, because a lot of them, they'll give you credits for completing the primary, and I've actually been trying to get the secondary conditions as well. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be playing artillery. I'll do a whole stream of playing artillery, so I'm sure everybody will, you know, immediately unsubscribe that sees this. I know it's a bit novel me playing World of Tanks anyway, and I have been playing some non-arty games, but the quality of the teams has been not so good, and in a way playing artillery is actually kind of useful because it's easier to disconnect, if that makes any sense. You know, it's the sociopath's way of playing World of Tanks. You don't have to care as much when your team turns out to be completely awful. Which seems to be the case, at least 60% of the time, I would say, at the moment. So, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to play my big orange Conqueror gun carriage. It's not quite the same with the base coat as it is with the French, with actually getting white paint. But you know, it's as close as we can get. I might play one or two other games as well. We do have the bonus from the Christmas stuff, so we might play one or two like premium games. But I'm aiming for about 2 hours worth of stream. Probably not anything longer than that, because my head is like, this is another reason why playing artillery at the moment is probably a good thing, because my head is so fuzzy today. I had a bout of insomnia last night where I just gave up trying to get to sleep at like 4:30 in the morning and got up for an hour and a half. And, you know, read and watched things and then went back to bed again, except then I woke up after only about 5 hours after that, which was still, you know, nearly midday or something like that. But, yeah, it's left me feeling a bit zonked today. One of the other side benefits of me playing this thing a lot is I've actually gotten bonds, because it seems like getting the flat tier 10 matchmaking is actually not uncommon these days. So if you're playing an only tier 10 game, or you're playing a grand battle, and we might get some grand battles appearing at some point in the rotation, those also give you bonds. So I'm actually slowly accumulating some bonds, very slowly. Remember doing arty missions before the reporting system was fixed? Yeah, well, indeed. It's one of those things where it's kind of a nice idea for people to be able to vent their whatever, but definitely open to abusers how they abuse it. Right, I haven't really played arty on this map. In fact, I haven't had this map much recently at all, so I have no idea what kind of angles I can get from here, where I need to go. The Conk GC, of course, does have that very, very good firing arc, but this is still a city map, so the victims might get to not be victims right away. I might have to wait for it a bit. I mean, like, you'll see me, and this is after overplaying the last like 2 days or whatever. I'm not even necessarily trying to get hits all the time when I'm playing arty, especially not the Conk GC. I mean, if you're playing one of the lower tier ones with less splash, then yes, you are going for the hits, but with the Conk you can get the splash and therefore get the stun. So if I try and stun this FV, for instance, there we go, I actually got 200 damage, and now anyone shooting him, I'm not sure if I got the tracks or not. I don't have that commander skill, which I don't even know if that works on artillery, but yeah, theoretically I get some, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a second kind of assistance damage, and I can never remember what it's called. Also, the mini-map behind is looking completely horrible, so we're going to have to drive forwards here. Might get another shot of this. Never mind. Right, yeah, this is it's looking all kind of bad to the south, so... Also, hello, by the way, Ikibuki. I did, my last stream actually was a warplane stream. I asked, by the way, I remember to ask about the replays being re-added, and was basically I was told soon TM, so that's the best answer I think I'll get from Wargaming at the moment. I don't think they've set a definite date on it, or if they have set a date when they want to try and get replays back in for World of Warplanes, they're not telling the likes of me about it. Did I play the Lafayette? I think I had 1 or 2 games in the Lafayette, but my crew, it's 100% crew, but they don't even have 1 crew skill in the Lafayette, so the crew was a bit lacking. And the 1 or 2 games I had, they were kind of over very quickly because, you know, it's tier 5. So, yeah, but I mean, I made a few credits. But as long as you get a win in this thing, you can make some credits. But even without making credits, as long as you're doing the missions, I've still come out ahead just for the amount of credits that you get from doing the T-55A missions, as I'm on now. So, yeah, this is not maybe looking like it's going that well. I think this is... very little I can actually shoot at the moment. I might just have to go shotgun commando mode and see if I can blap something in the face and then, you know, die. Because it's not the same as when you did it once upon a time. I've been completely forgetting to mark my target. Wow, that fell short. Yeah, it's... yeah, you can't get that massive alpha damage anymore. Occasionally, I think I had 1 game yesterday out of I don't even know how many I played, where I blapped Scorpion G from almost full health, and it has to be something with armor that's that bad before you can have any chance of getting those penetrating hits. We've finished quite a few grinds over the last few days. Yeah, this is a good time of year to, you know, the bonuses for Christmas. I'm not entirely sure about the sets. I think if you want to try and get the full sets for, what is it, like some seasonal camos, and I think there are inscriptions or something as well. I'm not fussed about that. I'm literally just trying to get up to tier 8 of the festive atmosphere thing, so I can get the 4th and final crew member for a WZ-111 crew, the 111-14, the Chinese tier 9 heavy tank. And if I can get to tier 10 of the festive atmosphere and get another female crew member on top of that, I can, I don't know, start off another crew for a tank I think I might want at some point. Don't know. I haven't actually thought that far ahead in terms of, like, I might get another... I've already got 1 female French crew waiting for, you know, I think it was an AMX 30 I had in mind for them. Could always do it so that they're going into another French medium on the back chat line, for example. I don't even know. There are options. There are options for what I could do. But let me try and back up this one. This is... We're actually not that far apart on numbers, but this is kind of a rapidly collapsing team in terms of... oh, there's the Stridswagen. 3B, take a punt. Well long. Didn't let that fully aim. Not even close though. Right, so Stridswagen's seen me, somebody's seen me. Oh, hello, it's me. Here's me caught embarrassingly reloading for another 15 seconds. Oh, he's shot there. I don't know what his reload is. Right, yeah, he's just... I'm just... You know what? We're just going to do it. We're just going to... Hello, E4. We're actually going to win this, I think. I could take the hit, but I could also just wait until... yeah, this thing's got basically no gun depression, by the way. Look at this. Alright, spotted. Not sure how. Oh, never mind. I wasn't even putting it this way. I could have tried to take a snapshot. See, I've done next to nothing. But this was a pretty terrible map. Yeah, this was actually quite a close game. It looked like we might not win it, but then our last couple of tanks have just held on. I don't really think I've probably helped that much, to be honest. Well, I've gotten some assistance damage, but not a huge amount. I've done less than 1,000. These are some weird ships. I know mechanic. Well, you know, this is basically ship grade firepower, right? It's a land ship. I decided I wanted to play a battleship, but you know, in the middle of Paris. Your son's pleased that I'm streaming in Big Bert as you don't swear at me. Okay. I'll try not to say knickers too many times and other such extremely naughty words. I'm sure there are naughtier words out there than knickers, but you know, you need naughtier words than that, and then something. You're just not using your imagination, or maybe you are using your imagination. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that thought. This is how well my brain is working today. Anyway, I shall endeavour to keep not swearing then, I guess, Menthel. Because, you know, it's not like I do anyway, but there's a reason why I don't stream World of Tanks a lot, because it does get maybe a little on my wick, but in this case, you know, I'm endeavouring to not let it. So, we didn't get any missions out of that one, but it was a win, and we did make a small profit. The plus 12% is helping, of course. You could ask him, you reckon he knows a few, possibly. Santa Jedi. Santa Jedi? What's the... I hate to break it to you, Ginge, but Father Christmas isn't actually real. Sorry, I'm sorry, Ginge. I know I've probably shattered all of your dreams that you've held for the last however many decades of your life. But yeah, I'll giving all the nice presents from above. I'm not sure they'd categorise them as nice presents, but I'm certainly giving them something from above. Yes, that's true. High velocity lumps of coal. There we go. I'm sorry, Ginge. Chat just caught up with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't want to be the one to break it to you, but yeah. That would actually be kind of an awesome April Fool's event where, yeah, I think you're onto something there, Mechanic. We're getting all of the city maps. 2 out of 2 city maps, which obviously, you know, means the entire stream is going to be city maps, just to spite me, probably. Yeah, you might be onto something there, though. That would be kind of an awesome, like, April Fool's thing, where instead of firing regular artillery shells, you, like, fire power-up mushrooms at your allies or something. That would be kind of cool. Right, I have to be super careful. I did have a game, I'm going to completely own up to this, where there was a whole bunch of tanks there. And it was an encounter game, and I fired and I splashed about half a dozen allied tanks collectively for about 1,400 damage. And the actual firing line showed green, but the thing is, the entire team that was on here, they just stopped. And so, although the firing line was green, as you can see here, it still, you know, RNG deviated it just enough that it caught on one of those tanks. However, in this case, I think I'm clear to fire. I've got and yes, there we go. We did not just blap an ally. I figured that these two, you know, like, it would have to be some serious deviation to those two. But they, yeah, can actually help out the hill a little bit. Fire paint shell. Yeah, giant paint shells. That could work. Yeah. So, you know, there's things you could do. But they've done like previous April 1st things with artillery. I don't know if everyone remembers the Kalgarite, but that was quite fun. I quite enjoyed that. Right, our Rev has just gone completely ham for that enemy artillery. Let's try for 5. Nice direct hit. Boom, and he's stunned. But we look like we might be... Yeah, our VKB is now alone. And they can potentially just push him. Just checking the... okay, we're not going to clip the 120 in the back of the head, which I don't think he'd enjoy very much. Have I played Armoured Warfare? I actually haven't, because it's PvE only now, isn't it? Armoured Warfare Artillery. No, I haven't tried that. I did briefly install it. When was it? I can't remember. Last month, maybe. But yeah, it didn't stay installed. Right, I got a nice stun there. That might help out the VKB, who's hanging on somehow. Got a bit more damage done as well. Oh, the 5120 died, however. In which case, I need to move. It might already be too late, but I need to move. They're all busy ganging up on that. Not that it's going to help me at all. I mean, we've comprehensively lost the hill at this point, but yeah. Is there any good place for me to go right now? Probably not. All I can do is try and make a getaway. So even on a tier 10 game, it still somehow hasn't filtered through to people that, you know, on Himmelsdorf, you quite need to take the hill. That's still... Whoa. Okay, they saw me, you guys. I might have jumped a bit slightly there. Don't think any of you noticed. It's fine. I'll just, you know, edit that out of the VOD somehow. It's fine. It's barely noticeable. Yeah, anyway, yeah, we're not winning this. We're definitely not winning this. I got some decent damage out of it, though. I got some... I don't know if I really got any assistance. I certainly splashed a bunch of people, but I didn't necessarily... you know, they weren't necessarily then being shot by allies because there weren't really any allies at that point. Yeah, a bit screwed there. Yeah, tiny. Little bit tiny screwed. Ooh, did that shot just go underneath the Stradzwang? I think it did. That is one lucky tank destroyer player. Yeah, I mean, we've taken down about half the team. This wasn't a complete wash, but we've only just gotten over the 4-minute mark and we've lost. So, 4.5 minutes, this was not a good team especially. But, you know, it's artillery. I don't care. It's not real tanks. It's definitely not real tanks. The King of Ming, yep, it was 100% accurate. This is happening. It's real. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's amoral. And, you know, it's a lot of clicking, basically. All of the clicking. I'm hoping, by the way, my internet is going to remain stable. I actually had a second BT engineer visit, and I think he basically turned it off and then on again. He said something about resetting the circuit, something along those lines. So, yeah, I just took that to mean he turned something off and then on again, and he said it might take about 2 weeks to settle down. And I did notice a bit of packet loss on that day. But it seems to have smoothed out relatively quickly, and it might have actually fixed things because I've not noticed it dropping again. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I mean, I could just try and convince everybody watching that actually they've just been at the eggnog too much already, and that I am in fact playing a tier 10 heavy tank, and they're just hallucinating that it's artillery. That would fly, right? You'd believe that. Yeah, I'm a persuasive kind of guy. I've got them Jedi mind tricks, so sure. I'm sure you'd all have definitely believed that. Right, an open map-ish. Where the heck are we going to position ourselves? Yeah, maybe not. See, ideally you'd go kind of there, maybe, but we'll sneak up. I don't know. I don't know if this is really a good location. We'll try this. Hey, Far Berserker. Yep. Sometimes, you know, you just want to roleplay as the Empire. You want to feel the power of a fully armed and operational battle station at your fingertips, and you just want to have the power to blast away entire planets at your disposal without any kind of, you know, remorse or conscience. Because if you have remorse or conscience when you're doing this, then clearly you're doing it wrong. So let's have a go at this defender, and black. Wow, that's a good hit. I mean, in the old days it would have been like, oh, 578, that's nothing. But of course, with the artillery rebounds, that's actually a fairly decent hit these days. I don't know why I'm wiggling around like this. It's I can wiggle around perfectly fine in artillery view, but you know, if I go to this view, it's not quite as boring as just watching artillery view, I guess. Anyway, so let's try helping out up in this corner. And the thing is, you know, I know the pain of each and every one of these people that I hit. I've been there. And it's not as bad as it once was with CQC, but I still have a particular loathing for the... Oh, hello, light tanks. Yep, there they go. I still have a particular loathing for the 55-58, like, auto-loading artillery. Who thought auto-loading artillery was a bright plan? Yeah, going there would have been a mistake in retrospect, so that's fine. This has worked out. If you're wondering, by the way... and again, I'm forgetting to mark where I'm firing. If you're wondering why the chat's disabled, and I did that for World of Warships as well. Yeah, I thought it would be safer. In World of Tanks, you could just do it, but for World of Warships, you need a mod to disable the chat, basically. So, and then as far as you go, stream chat, I'm just going to have to trust you, I suppose. Although, you know, clearly you're a deeply disreputable lot of people that would sit here and watch me. What's that Groucho Marx quote about he wouldn't join any club that would have him as a member? I think that probably applies to this stream somehow. You're all complicit. I've made you all complicit. Oh, never mind, I missed. Yeah, that's some awkward terrain for artillery, though. Right, they've repelled the light tanks, which is very nice. Can we hit this? Just splash this WZ. We can actually try and dissuade them from... No, I should probably keep helping out these guys here. They're severely pressed. Even. 100 is doomed. Doomed! Doomed! Right. From above, the 65T... kind of does look like that's the stock turret, but it kind of looks like a different tank. But then the top turret is incredibly distinctive. Can't really hit him there. That's the problem. Can we hit the cap? No, not really. I didn't need to move the entire reticle to do that. Although even a little movement with a reticle makes it just balloon wildly. So there's not a lot you can do there. Right, okay, we're gonna... Oh, I've clicked the wrong key there. I dabbed at the R key instead of... And I've splashed my own ally. Excellent. Excellent. Didn't actually do any damage, but it did stun him briefly. But it hit basically the outside edge of the the outside edge of the reticle. It missed by about as much as it could miss. And still be inside the reticle. So one of the joys of playing artillery. They do seem to be beating our team back rather badly. Let's take a look, see. I could try and be naughty and get a kill secure on that pattern KR, but that's not a particularly important tank right now. Oh, and that's what I mean, you'd give it just a tiny little, you know, and suddenly it goes out to its full blooming size. Right, there we go. That was decent. I only splashed that guy for like 1 damage, but not really matters. But the team is just, yeah. This is fully collapsed at this point. So, you know, you get to a certain stage of a game and all that's left is to waggle your bum at the enemy, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to waggle our bums at the enemy and hope that they are so offended that they immediately log off the client and never play World of Tanks again. Huh, well, I was going to, but they're all actually chasing after the IS-3, so we might as well shut off. Can we even get hits on? No, that's just like literally just hit a completely different hill. Right, let's do this for honour and for glory and for bum waggling. Although we are the wrong way around for bum waggling. This is the kind of thing where I kind of like. I wish maybe that the all chat was still available, because it would be interesting to see people's reactions. Well, there we go. Come on then. Yeah, you want some of this, don't you? Yeah, there we go. Look at that tasty butt. Anyway. My arty shake brings all the heavy tanks to this side of the map. That doesn't really work, but whatever. It's fine. You never realised that me twerking was the main cause of people rage quitting World of Tanks. Well, there you go. Educational stream. You learned a thing. You indeed learned a thing. That wasn't completely horrible. 2,200 damage done, but very little damage done by allies to stunned vehicles. There's actually one of the missions. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Still looking at the wrong thing. Come on, brain, you can do this. You know which one it is. There we go. So I'm trying to prove the secondary on that one, but yeah, this one. Enable your allies to cause damage to 5 vehicles by stunning or immobilizing them. I kind of gave up on doing that to try and instead get credits from doing other missions, because getting my allies to shoot at the people that I've been stunning and tracking turns out to be quite difficult, because you can't really get them to do anything. You just have to keep plugging away and hope that it happens. So that's one of the more annoying ones, because it relies on your teammates doing something, and that's always problematic in World of Tanks. I do like the new when they rejigged all this, like there's a lot of the I could skip past the mission. I think I've got 8 of those thingamy orders at the moment, but I'm saving those for the light tank missions. There's a lot of the light tank missions that are even more infuriating, because they are exactly the same thing. They are relying on your allies to shoot the things that you're spotting, or you know, or you're relying on the RNG of well, not even the RNG, but you're relying on spotting vehicles before somebody else spots them, and it gets maddening, absolutely maddening. Hey, Island Man, I'm sorry, Island Man. I'm sure you'll immediately be withdrawing your Patreon support as a result. Oh, this is the new grand battle map, by the way, Klondike, which I understand is some kind of American candy bar, so there were much references to that, but I had to go and look that up as to why people were talking about Klondike bars, and I thought it was a reference to, I don't know, like strip clubs or something. Like, you know, a bar of the other sense, but no, it turns out it's kind of confectionery. So, yeah. If you keep clicking, can you enable seeing stun damage in the battle log? I don't think you can. Let's have a quick notifications. Oh, no, there we go. That's new. Damage after your stun. That wasn't there before. I swear that's new. Unless it isn't new and I've just somehow missed it for like years and years and years and years. All of the years since it's been, since World Gaming made that change. I also keep forgetting that there's this view. I keep forgetting I can do that, but I'm so used to playing not with that view that I mostly don't. Right, I actually want to support the north, because I've noticed the last couple of times I've played on this map, that's been like this area here doesn't tend to be where the breakthrough happens. It seems to be up here in the north, so I actually want to support the north. But one of the few disadvantages of this is, compared to some of the other arties, is it doesn't have a particularly good range, which on most maps isn't so much an issue. It means you can't reach all the way across the map, but on this particular map, because it's bigger, it means I'm actually going to have to do some repositioning, because there we go, there's an E50M there. That's a lovely nice target that I could splash maybe, and mouses and patterns and things that we just don't have the range. So let's give that a go. And I'm really hoping we don't get some sneaky little light tanks sneaking through the middle, deciding that that would be a lovely opportunity to get behind enemy lines. Right, so we're going to have a go and just... I'm not even trying to maybe do damage, I'm just trying to dissuade these tanks and help out allies, stun them a bit, and it's flight time there. Make it just a bit easier for our allies to do damage, make it a bit harder for the enemy team to chip away for damage from our guys. Oh, what else is there? Oh. That's not looking good. A flanking Jägeroo. Well, that's a novelty. What the hell that? Oh, there's a 30B there as well. Yeah, our 30B might be a bit doomed. Right, how much lead do I even need? I'm so used to World of Warships where it like tells you. Is that enough? Probably not. Oh no, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Not that it was going to ever save that 30B. Yeah, so it's not looking that good in the north. It's not looking that good at all. It's a little bit confusing finding your way on the overhead view as well, because I'm not used to this map. So I'm having to look at the mini-map a lot to figure out where the heck I'm actually looking at in a given moment. Right, we'll try for another splash in the middle of this group, because we need some movement on this flank. We can take the pressure off and help our guys move up a bit, and there we go, a bit of damage, and stun 3 vehicles. I think we're collectively trying to stun heavy tanks or tank destroyers for 80 seconds, win and survive. So it's the win and survive that we're trying to actually... these guys are not paying attention to the fact there's tanks coming up behind them. Hell, there's probably even tanks coming towards me at this point. Okay. There's a huge hole in the middle of our line. And the fact I'm relocating means that I can no longer help out the north. But we've got that Sheridan still unaccounted for. We've got an E4 that's in the middle there. There's a 30B who's actually come down there. I might get off one shot of the E4 maybe. Should be enough time to aim. I mean, the mission is also for heavy tanks and tank destroyers, so let's try. Oh, I actually tracked him. There's the Sheridan. I think our grill is probably a bit stuffed. In fact, I think our team's a bit stuffed. We are actually losing this one pretty badly. And it seems to be both flanks that have fairly spectacularly folded. So it wasn't even one particular flank this time, it's just that flank got really mauled and that flank got flanked. Who flanks the flankers or something? I don't know. There's probably a witty video title in there, maybe. So yeah, this is Klondike from the view of artillery. Specifically the Conch GC, which doesn't even have enough range to cover the entire thing. Let's see if we can give the Badger a nasty surprise before our inevitable demise. Hello, Sheridan. How you doing? He actually tracked me. I was going to turn around and you know, wiggle my bum at him again, but he'd actually rammed me, so and taken my track off, so that wasn't really an option. Alas, alack. So, yes, once more we have a team that has been quite massively outclassed. I'm a little more inclined to not be too harsh just because it's a new map. But, you know, I'm a noob, and even I know that leaving a big hole in the middle of your lines and letting yourself get flanked and just ignoring the fact that you're being flanked is not really a good thing. But even if this flank had held, this flank in the south actually did collapse. So this one was never going to be a win, probably. Seems strangely appropriate to play arty in a map that shares a name with Solitaire. Ah, is that another name for Solitaire then? As in, I'm guessing you mean Solitaire, the card game. Makara Baduk. Interesting. I did not know that. Today I learned that that is also known as Klondike. You want a 14-round auto-loading Swedish arty in the game. I mean, if you want to say such things in public, Korpenflieger, then by all means, go ahead. You know, this is a safe space or something. I mean, why stop at a 14-round autoloader? Why not make it a 24-round autoloader? Why not make it like a twin-barreled artillery autoloader and you fire multiple shots? Why not make it so you've got multiple, you know, MIRVs, multiple impact re-entry vehicles? You could do all sorts of things with artillery, really. Well, that would be another good troll for wargaming, is add actual nuclear artillery. You fire once, and they wouldn't have to even introduce it, they'd just have to say they were going to do it and mock up some videos and gameplay footage. And you fire once and like the entire map just disappears into a nuclear fireball. That could be quite funny. Hey, Foo. Glad to see you again. We were actually playing some a proper game earlier on. We were playing Warships and had a reasonably okay time. Yeah, this team got pretty well hammered. There's like half the enemy team left alive, so yes, oh well. It happens. The teams get completely outclassed. So we need a longer game where the team just doesn't collapse, where I can just keep hitting those targets and getting the stunning over and over. Because I've done it once already. I just did it on a game which we lost, I think. So you know, I didn't get that secondary and therefore the tasty extra 100k credits. The Sturm Tiger. There was an actual... I'm sure the US had an actual nuclear artillery shell. Because the US did all kinds of crazy things with nuclear miniaturization. Yes, the Soviets had it. The French had some. Except that was a missile system, so that doesn't count. Actual artillery shell. Yeah, the Soviets had actual artillery shells, and the US did as well. The M65 atomic cannon. Just looking at Wikipedia. Anyway, let's actually pay attention to the game, shall we? So this is an all tier 10 game, so we've got the chance to earn some bombs. The USS Missouri's guns could fire a nuclear shell. I mean, you look at the world of Fallout 4 and you think, man, all this stuff, you know, all these things seem completely crazy, and then you read up about the actual history through the 50s and 60s and even into the 70s, and then suddenly you realise what the inspiration was for all of it. So, got a strong force of medium tanks going north, so we're actually going to point ourselves north to begin with and see if we can't help them out a bit. There's very little chance we'll get to take a pop at this. Oh, we might do though. The Batchat might think he's safe there, but he's not. Well, that was not a hit, but certainly splash damage. The Super Conqueror, no, there's the Badger. Okay, this is some nice aggressive positioning from our team. We don't have an overabundance of people at this corner. We'll see. This might actually be alright. The early sounds, not sounds. What word am I looking for? Signs, signs, not sounds. Wow, brain. Okay, well done. The early signs are promising. And I'm even now trying to remember to... this badger's going to feel so persecuted because the French arty's shooting at him, I'm shooting at him. That's pretty nasty when all of the artillery is focusing you, but the badger is a dangerous machine. Right, 140 is in trouble. Could we maybe dissuade this 140? The Batchat's backing off and the STB's in cover, so this might be the best bet for anything to shoot at. But I don't think he's hanging around there. So yeah, the early positioning is kind of not paying off because they've got the Super Conqueror back there. And not really a lot of ridgeline support. Oh! So this is more just turning into a bunch of tanks that have kind of gotten trapped. I'm just going to fire. That's not optimal, but no, never mind. I actually could have held on to that and gone for the 140 before he got to cover. Okay, so we're going to have issues from this hand side of the map, and I can't even remember which direction that direction is. Right, the right hand side. There we go. I genuinely had to think about that. That's the state my brain is in right now. Although, even at the best of times, I do sometimes get right and left mixed up anyway. Because why not? So, the early signs turned out to be false. Our map control is rapidly collapsing. This is all looking not very good right now. It's taking 4 tanks. Quite a lot of time to dispose of one Type 5 heavy, but there we go, he's finally dead. Right, let's hope this doesn't deviate, hit the rock and splash there. There we go, 260. Although the 260 is dead at this point. Right, I have a nasty feeling there'll be an STB-1 coming around from this side fairly soon. But the collapse of this team is already fairly well in progress, so there's not a lot to be done about it at this stage. This game's pretty much over already. Right, if he pops out, it can be fully aimed and you can have a nasty surprise. Or, as is more probable, I'll get spotted by somebody else first. Possibly. Oh, that could happen! Huh! Well, there's some bonus damage. Okay then. That was a penetrating hit for 874 damage on an STB-1. I mean, it's not going to make any difference. I'm still going to lose credits, but I'll lose slightly fewer credits than I would have lost before. So, yeah, hail RNGesus, I guess. Right, come on then, commence Operation Bumwaggle. Come on, Super Conqueror, do your worst. Well, I'm probably going to get blapped by artillery. Yeah, there we go. Oh wow, oh, he heshed me. But that distraction actually bought our IS-7 time to get one more kill, so there you go. Yeah, he must have... Well, he did. He obviously specifically loaded a hair shell for me. I made it extra easy for him by giving the rear of my superstructure to... Oh, that's a bit rude. Let's not look at that view. That's a bit... sights that man is not meant to see. I can't believe there are 45 people watching my shame right now. So, another defeat. This was part of the course yesterday, and it's probably going to be part of the course today as well. And the fact of the matter is, I'd have more chance of positively influencing the outcome of a game if I was playing a vehicle that isn't quite so bound to RNG. I mean, that's less true for artillery than it used to be, but still. If you want to actually influence the outcome of a game, artillery is kind of right down there on the list. You're much better off in a medium tank or a heavy tank or something. So, yeah. Yeah, that was a bit. We might have to slap a big censored on the screen for that bit, John W91. What are my thoughts on the Christmas loot boxes? I mean, you know, we had the Christmas boxes last year with warships. I think this is a new concept for World of Tanks, but it's not for warships. Generally speaking, they're good value, but it's the fact that the Type 59 is in there, that's where it gets iffy. And it's iffy for the same reason that it was iffy with the Halloween warships boxes, where it was a random chance of the skins, and they could have just let you buy the skins, and instead they lock it behind this gambling system. Essentially, it's buying the boxes and hoping that you get the skins that you want. And it's exactly the same with the Type 59. So if you don't care about the Type 59, that takes it out of the equation. Well, if you take it out of the equation, then yeah, the boxes do seem to be rather good value in terms of what you get out of them. You know, monetary value versus, you know, the amount of gold that you get and other things. But the fact that they've got the Type 59 in as an enticement, even though it's just a fairly regular standard tier 8 matchmaking, limited matchmaking premium these days, that's the part where, yeah, it is a bit naughty, I think. It really is. Because they still, even though it's not but you know, a shade of its former self, they still play on that reputation of the Type 59. They still play on the rarity of the Type 59 to do things like this. And if it's a giveaway, that's fair enough. But for when it's something where they're actually expecting people to fork out money, because there will be people, plenty of people who've bought the boxes for the chance of getting the Type 59. And the fact that they're getting golden stuff on top of that is, you know, that's just a bonus for them. They're buying the boxes because it's a chance to get a Type 59. Right, well, that went completely long, never mind. They bought 2 sets, got a T26E5 or O40 T-Type 59 AC1. I mean, if you don't really care about the individual things, if you just want some boxes and the like, with the expectation that you'll get decent value out of them, I mean, in that sense, it is the same as last year's Warships Christmas crates, or Christmas containers, because they've got premiums in them as well. I got gifted a bunch and got some premiums that I did not previously had, and that was all well and good, but that was not with the expectation that I would get one particular ship. That I wasn't trying to get some specific rare vehicle that could only be then obtained through the crates. So that's the point where it pushes over to being a little bit, yeah. Let's try this view for a change. This is a slightly awkward bit of terrain. It's a nice cluster of tanks. If I can but hit them, RNGesus will let me. Oh, I like Emil's getting a bit cheeky. And come on, Jesus. Oh, there we go. Got the low health guy and splashed another guy. Oh, some key. I should probably be moving around more. Like, if the enemy artillery is looking to counter batter us, I'm being a bit complacent here in terms of not moving at all. Right, I can't tell how well this flank's going at the moment. It does seem like we're being pushed back. This is such an awkward spot. Like, that Emil 2 potentially could be an artillery kill, but it depends on the RNG of the shot. Let's try it. Oh, it's moved anyway. Oh, and I actually stunned the E100 instead. It's a really awkward bit of terrain. A Bombardier, yeah, Bombardier's 2 kills at the same time, so you basically need 2 low health tanks sat next to each other these days. You're relying on the splash damage. Right, the other arty's actually fighting right now, so we need to keep helping out this corner. They're now apparently comfortable to make a counterpoint. Oh, but I have just realised, hello, that is now completely wide open. And our medium tanks are in fact rushing forwards into the fray rather than trying to plug the flank that's got a gaping hole in it. So let's hope we can do this and not get spotted. Let's hope that those light tanks aren't rushing into our base as we speak. Well, we're still alive, so clearly they've not grasped the thingy, the opportunity. They haven't Tempest the Fugit and decided to rush forwards into our base. Which works out for me. That was some excellent Latin grammar there. Yeah, okay, there we go. T-54's still there. Interesting. We are winning this one, but it's not been... It's kind of an awkward map to do this particular mission on, so... So what did you think was the game plan there, T-54 Lightweight? I'm curious. I'm curious. What was the thinking? Or is thinking the wrong word to use? Should we see if we can do a little bit of counter-batterying? Oh, there's the ST-1. He's going to be firing the Type 4 heavy. Yeah, let's see if we can find the artillery. Might even need to make the mini-map a little bit smaller for this. It's not my favourite activity, and it usually feels like you're spending a long time just... You know, you're sitting there looking at the map for a minute, 2 minutes, when you could be firing at other things. Oh, one of the RTs is actually there. Let's swing the gun around and see if we can't get off the shot. This might well be the kill. There we go. IS-7 does seem to be in some serious trouble though. But that's one of the enemy RTs down. This is quite close overall. I might be able to hit the rock behind and actually splash this 13105. I do seem to be winning this. Oh, it's moved. How dare you, in your light tank, use mobility? How dare you do that? Come on! Bam! There we go. Oh, that was a huge chunk of his remaining health. And he's stunned. Come on, somebody finish him while he's stunned. I can get the extra... No, never mind. Right, that 53-55 will still be reloading, so... Street Survivor going in for the kill. That just leaves this little light tank who's... desperately trying to run away, but our 105's on the case. So, he's not going to outrun that. He might temporarily give it the slip, but... Bam! There we go. Nice ram kill for the finish. Wargame, you must have something good planned if the AMX-40 is the last tank to go into HD. I don't know why they've left it till last. Like, worst case scenario, they're going to pull it out the game, which would be, like, what would even be the point? What would even be the point of playing World of Tanks? You know, my interest in it is kind of dampened enough already, but without the AMX-40, what is World of Tanks even? What is it even good for? You know, yeah, if they added it in War Thunder, that would actually be, you know, because it was an actual, like, it was an actual design. They actually did mock-ups and whatever else. But of course then the fall of France happened, so that slightly got in the way. Right, so we have I don't think any of those were... No, everything is kind of tier 4 at the moment, apart from the Christmas tree thingamy. So I've just been collecting them all and breaking them down and making new ones of higher quality, essentially. And I don't know if there's is there some bonus to having complete sets of these, because it doesn't seem like there is, unless it's for the collections thing, which I honestly don't care about, because the collections give you, oh god, what is it, like camo or something? Reward, there we go. Yeah, an emblem, an inscription, and a camo set. So I don't care about that at all. Yeah, you can break them all at once. What, have you been doing it one by one, Latika Mafia? Have I blown your mind? Once again, educational stream. There you go. I am here to educate and inform, and not just to horrify and appall. You have done it one at a time. Oh dear. Well, now you know. now you know that you can select multiple things and smash them all into tiny little bits. And then you pick the tiny little shards of Christmas decoration out of your feet somehow. Oh, good, Ensk. Ensk with 3 artillery. I mean, you know, you play artillery, you get exactly what you're asking for. So this is just, you know, yeah, deserved, probably. Oh, you get more XP bonus. Is it XP or is it credits? Or is it both? Like, again, I don't really care about that. It's kind of, it's nice, I guess. It's nice, but I'm not really, I'm not playing this to grind out new lines, to grind out bazillions of credits. I'm trying to grind out some credits, but not from the Christmas bonuses. As I've said, more from doing missions. So, you know, I don't really. Okay, so I can continue to not really care about that. That's fine. That's good to know. Right. So a chance we could give this bat chat a cheeky wee splash. How come I'm actually playing artillery now, Fu? Did you think I wasn't going to? Because I'm rather, like, I'm actually more fuzzy-headed than I was before. So, oh, hello. Spotted. What? Spotted how? Yeah, that'll be through that. That was a bit of a snapshot, unless he was kind of pre-aimed roughly towards this area. That must have been spotted down that. Yeah, no, well, the rationale is that it's a little bit less, like, I'm finding it easier to not care about the horrendous teams. They're not all horrendous, but there are a higher proportion of horrendous teams, and I'm guessing just because, you know, it's the holidays and not everything. So, yeah, I don't know, artillery, you can just have like that kind of zen-like disconnection and not really care about what's going on as much. Or at least I'm not caring about what's going on as much. And also it's a way to grind some credits with the personal missions, and to also get some female crew members from the Santa stuff, Christmas stuff. So, you know, there's reasons. It's not just me having a sociopathic episode. I mean, that might be an element as well. I'm not going to rule that out. That I've got a little bit Patrick Bates, but yeah. There are reasons other than I enjoy the suffering and pain of others. That's just like an added bonus, you know? Anyway, we're probably going to get blapped by a bat chat fairly soon. Land a shot there, maybe? No, we can give that train a good kicking hard. That's the only reason. Curses, Ginge, you've found me out. You're right. That's the other stuff's just lies. It's the cruelty and suffering thing. That's all it is. It's just that. It's Christmas, and I've decided that people are having, you know, they're just enjoying themselves and having fun. So clearly, it's time to shout "Bah humbug" and let rip the artillery shells of Grinchiness. Or I slaughtered about 3 different references at once there. That was painful even for me. Yeah, this team seems to not be doing so well, and it's Ensk, so it's not exactly the best map for artillery, just because it's so damn small. Nope. It would be funny if I managed to land that with not exactly a lot of aim, but anyway. Yeah, this team's Getting outpaced, not completely one-sided, but this is not going so well. This is definitely not going so well. Right, do we think we'll be reloaded by the time the Jaeger comes around the corner, or is he more likely to be going for the 183? He probably is. Oh, never mind, we're about to be spotted by him. Hey Jaegeru, you wanna not shoot me for about 2 seconds? Oh, 7 hit points. Hey, how you doing? I made that 183. He shot a premium Hesh at me. I made him waste a Hesh shell on my 7 hit point artillery. So there you go. Anyway, so this went well. This was at least kind of semi-close. This wasn't a complete walkover. I'm more okay with losses like this. It's when the team, like 2/3 or more of the team is dead inside the 3-minute mark, or even more. I had some games, I think I had like 3 games yesterday where we basically lost by the 3-minute mark, and it was only technically just over the 3-minute mark by the time the game finished, but the game was already effectively lost inside of 3 minutes. Those kind of games get a bit dispiriting, but you know, I'm playing artillery, so who cares? I get to enjoy the pain and suffering either way, and the fact that I'm having pain and suffering is just all part of the artillery experience, really. Well, that could yeah, I don't know what that reveals about the innermost workings of my soul, but probably nothing good. I'm not repeating that for the benefit of YouTube, Makara Batok. Definitely not repeating that for the benefit of YouTube. Okay, so anyway, Fjords, and it's yeah, we've had a couple of these 3-5-7 games, which is less unfair when you're in the top tier arty, well, specifically in the CGC, compared to the old days when the tier 8s would have, a lot of the tier 8s on the enemy team would have been one-shots if you'd landed a good hit. The VKP definitely not, but I think almost all the other tier 8s, even the Tiger 2, if you got a penetrating hit with the Tiger with this HE, the old HE, into a Tiger 2's engine deck or whatever, blammo, that's it, they'd have been done. Well, I was telling myself I was going to avoid going here, but that's just whatever. Yeah, so you know, obviously, I should point out that I'm not wearing any trousers, and I do have a bottle of lubricant handy just in case the urge strikes me. So there you go. I promised myself I was going to stay at least semi-classy and not go in that direction, but then I decided, screw it. So there we are. Hopefully Menthel's children aren't still watching, but you know, he can explain what that meant to them, and and then he'll unsubscribe from my channel, probably. Right, semi-classy means I kept my top on. Well, that's very kind of you, Ginge, to try and find some semblance of anything in that that sentence that I just said, but there we are. That was a decent hit, 508. Oh god, yeah, the old artery where you could one-shot tier 10 tank destroyers, and it was, you know, this is better than it was. This is unquestionably better than it was. A lot of people would have preferred just there to have been then no artillery at all, and it's still definitely not perfect. Like they could yet even still reduce it to like 2 arties per team, and I think that would be absolutely fine. Right, what are you doing, E3? You're wiggling a bit. And you're not quite sure if I'm going to fire again, but let's do it anyway. And he's going forward, but actually got the tracking shot there, I think. But the T-44 is still kind of screwed. Can't really do much for him. He's in a bit of a not good location. Yeah, 500 damage is still a pretty big chunk of somebody's hit points, but it puts it more in the realm of tank destroyers and some of the heavy tanks. If you want the big, huge damage numbers these days, you have to play tank destroyers. That's all that's left. Mr. Jagdpanzer E100 player. Anyway, not that I'm pointing any fingers there or anything, Latika Mafia. So, this is not looking so good. But it's definitely not lost yet. I think because we've got a higher proportion of tank destroyers, that does always make a difference. And I see that wreck moving. Well, we can do something about that because that tells me exactly where the Lorraine is. Let's plonk the shell there and... Well, oh, he's actually turned it round. I thought he was driving around it maybe, which is why I shot that way, but yeah. Can we help over here? Maybe no, that's kind of a tricky angle for artillery. Right, can't do much without spotting, but the people spotting themselves are... we're in 2 tanks down at the moment, but yeah, we're starting to... It's not a good looking mini-map, is the thing. Even though we're only 2 tanks down, it's definitely not a good looking mini-map. Is there any way to hit that Stridswagen? No? Oh, we can maybe try for a shot at that. Never mind, it was going to massively bloom out anyway. Oh no, WZ, don't move. Just sit nice and still. Don't move. Just sit back. Yeah, that was a hit. Just sit back and relax and just let it happen. Just let it happen. It's fine. It will only sting a little bit. This is just getting progressively filthier as the stream's going on, which I guess is probably not a surprise to anybody. That tends to happen when I'm streaming when tired, is that the filters come off, I guess, and things do just get progressively more filthy and innuendo laden. Right, we might have a chance to help out with this E3. Oh, don't. There we go. Oh, well, never mind, that was a wasted shot. God, we could even maybe help out with this VKP, and that could... you would think, you know, this Conqueror would just drive around the VKP, and even if he has to absorb the hit, he can kill this VKP, but no, he's got to play peekaboo. There we go. It's one of those times when you would think the thing that seems obvious to you is apparently not obvious to everybody. Right, so our backs are definitely against the wall. The team split up a bit. We're really heavily relying on these 2 camping tank destroyers here. Very, very heavily relying. We can try and pre-aim where we think the T-54 is going to pop out. But he might be a bit more cautious and sit and spot and wait. I mean, he might just rush down gung-ho into the cap circle, but if he's a slightly more sensible player than that, he might not... oh, let's not... Away there, maybe. I don't want to accidentally black... Oh, and because I was just checking I wasn't going to black the GW Tiger P, never mind. So much for the tank destroyers, I guess. Oh, no, there we go. But that one just got completely lapped. And the other one got completely lapped. I don't know why they didn't shoot him sooner. They waited him to get very close before they opened fire. So, I mean, just the fact that they are tank destroyers that sat in that position for the entire game, that might tell you something about their skill as players generally, so maybe we shouldn't be too surprised. I'm fully expecting the Lorraine or the Stridswagen to turn up any time now. Just help out the remaining teammates by maybe killing the... No, but we've got a splash, that's fine. He's stunned at least. We actually haven't seen them in a little while. We don't know where they are at all. Oh, there we go. Tiger P. Oh, there we go. Speak of the auto-loading devil. Hey, Finn Sand. We'll try the line that I said I'd try earlier. This is not actually me playing artillery, Finn Sand. I'm actually playing a heavy tank, and I regret to inform you that you're experiencing some heavy hallucinations right now. So you should probably see a doctor about that. Right, we are the last couple of things alive, but we've got no chance. This is not the kind of situation where it's like, oh, super low health things. The fact that it's an auto-loading tank absolutely means our doom. Well, there's the lack of gun depression. Boop! Hey Stridsvagen, how you doing? I didn't get to do the bump whistle this time, but never mind. I booped a little bit more damage out of the Stridsvagen. I got a boop. Do I get bonus points for a boop, guys? I don't even think, I'm not even sure this has 0 degrees gun depression. I think it might be like +1 or +2 degrees gun elevation on this machine. Yeah, I definitely got the stun duration there, but it was a loss and I died. So it's just one of those ones where I guess we just keep trying, or maybe I should take a crack at a different one, because we've not even gotten close to getting that one. In this entire stream. Top 3 players by experience. Good lord. Okay, that's a tall order in artillery these days. You have to get super lucky with basically lots of assistance damage and lots of stun damage. Critical hits. Destroy internal modules or injure crew members, totaling at least 8 modules or crew members. Remain unspotted throughout the game and win. That one should be eminently doable. So let's have a go at that one. Let's set that one going. See if we can't make some credits. Because at the moment, with tier 10 arty, like, we've had two wins. We've had 2 wins so far, and the rest have all been losses. Like, unless you do an absurdly high amount of damage, there's no way to make money on a loss in a tier 10 artillery. Certainly not on this one. This is me not even using any premium consumables or premium ammo. And it's just the shells are so expensive, and you do less damage these days. So it all gets made up by people doing the assistance and the damage while things are stunned, and people just don't seem to be doing that this evening, or in fact they weren't doing it yesterday or the day before either. So yeah, you can mark the targets you're firing at, and they're clearly marked as stunned, but then nobody proceeds to shoot them. Now this is a 4 arty game. Okay, I think this is the most arty I've seen in quite a long time. Clearly, grander battles can have more artillery. Do I have a Island Man? Oh yes, Old Homes. Yes, you can find my YouTube link singular below, and it's a mix of Will of Tanks, Will of Warships, and sometimes some other games as well. I'll probably put this VOD up. I am locally recording this. I probably will just put the whole VOD up on YouTube, because there's, I don't know, there might be people that just want to see me lose my mind slowly playing artillery. Although I think I've managed to be, I've managed to keep a remarkable air of I can never say that word. Equanimity? Equitability? One of those words that I'd struggle to say. Yeah, considering that I've been playing artillery. And, RNG and teammates and mostly losses. So... But, if I was playing regular tanks, I'd be getting far more wound up by this point. This is one of the reasons why I'm playing artillery. Is that I seem to get less wound up. Your business is appreciated. Getting less invested in the battle. Thank you for the follow, whoever that was. I didn't actually quite catch that, but actually, one of the benefits of artillery is I can look right away. I can see that it was Overlanding Worm. Thank you very much, sir. Or at least I'm assuming a sir. I might be making somebody angry on the internet by, making a completely unjustified assumption. But, well, it's not completely unjustified, because like 95 it would be being generous, like 99%, 98% of my viewers on YouTube, according to YouTube Analytics, are male. And I think the player base for this game of Warships, it's not exclusively male, but it's mostly male. But then, there's that chance that then, like, a person of the male variety, it might be a person of the female variety, and I've just horrendously insulted them. So, Yeah, I should be better about that and not just assume it's going to be a bloke, but anyway. Well, that was just an aside about not much of anything. And also this enemy team's doing a weird thing. They kind of... The expected congregation in the south is happening, but not in the north. Normally in the north you just get these two groups facing off against each other. And that's not happening, so I don't know what this enemy team's doing, because a lot of them haven't been actually spotted yet. Can we not assist with this? See, this is the epitome of not feeling bad if I hit a Type 5 heavy with artillery. I absolutely don't feel bad. Corp and Flieger, I mean... I wasn't playing on platooning, but you know... We could do, sure, why not? If you're willing to be seen with me playing in artillery, in public, in front of people, then sure. Give me a poke after this game and yeah, that's what happens when you give the Type 5 Heavy your side armour. That's what happens. We do have an IS-7 up here as well, but he's just, I don't know, humming a jaunty little tune to himself and pretending everything's all fine. Well, that missed by a fair bit. Oh, I've just realised one of the reasons why my reticle wasn't particularly... I was driving forwards very slowly, so I was playing artillery in hard mode, firing only on the move. That will tend to not help your accuracy. Yeah, this 13105 next to me is just completely AFK. I'm going to give them a little report. Which one is that? Well, let's fire off the shot first, and then we can take a look at the actual player now. Yeah, that IS-7's just like... Not even trying to make a getaway, he's just retreated into a corner where he will proceed to die. So that IS-7's one of the less good weekend players. Right, and it's this one here. Okay, maybe? Where are we? In action box. So yeah, I'm going a little bit more distance because that northern flank, despite the fact the enemy team... There wasn't a massive congregation there. That IS-7's certainly not helped matters. I don't... That was not a good move. That was so not a good move. It was only going to end one way, IS-7. If you don't help your teammates and then back yourself into a corner when all your teammates have died, that tends to end in precisely one way. Inevitably. Right, so we can just kill the Type 5 Heavy. Maybe. Nope, but good little hand. Right, let's GTFO. Or at least retreat a bit. Hey, Tanky Cat! You've come from being completely confused watching Circon playing World of Warcraft, and now you find me playing artillery. Yeah, it's a topsy-turvy day, definitely. I did see that actually, that he's playing Warcraft today. What gave him the urge? Has there been some kind of thing out, or was he just stuck for games to play and decided to fire up Warcraft because he hadn't in a while? Because I'm sure there was a reason for it. I'm sure he didn't just like throw a dartboard and go, right, today we're playing World of Warcraft. Is there a CM lurking in the chat? Oh dear. We get very disreputable sorts of people in this chat. I mean, I made Ginger mod for crying out loud, so says it all really. It's fine, don't feel sorry for him, he's a ginger. Oh dear, I'm going to get reported for like hate crimes now, aren't I? We've gone from filth and smut to hate crimes against gingers. Or some such. This team appears to be... we're actually... I don't know. We've like lost almost entire control of the north. The south's kind of hanging on. But now we've got this group of tank destroyers that have all repositioned themselves. So these few tanks that are coming from the north are maybe not that big of a threat as it turns out, but I think we're not far apart on numbers at all. This could go either way. This absolutely could go either way. You're at work and totally not judging me. Oh, that's fine. That's good to know. Well, I'm just... this is my new excuse. This is going to be my excuse for the next however long of playing artillery. Well, you know, CM is 3-marking all the hipster tanks, so I had to one-up him and 3-mark things that were even more hipster. And so therefore, obviously, I'm trying to 3-mark the Conqueror gun carriage. Yeah, that's it. That's my excuse. That's what's happening here. It's all about 3 marks, you guys. That's what it is. It's those marks of excellence. It's not about anything else. Right, do they need help with the E4? Probably not. Let's... Oh, and once again, we are struggling for range. Let's move ourselves a bit closer to the action. Have I 3-marked the duck? See, the thing is, I know you're joking, but it still makes me sad that I can't. It still makes me sad that I can't. Right, now it's the southern flank that's struggling, but the enemy team is still a little behind us. So this is actually turning into quite a close game. Right, now it's the T-57 Heavy that's going to feel persecuted because all artilleries are firing and trying to splash him to death slowly. Presuming he's still there, of course. Yeah, I think eventually they will roll it out, but it does seem like they should have given the AMX-40 special dispensation to paint it yellow or orange. There are tank skins you can get for it, but it's not the same as being able to actually paint it. Oop, can we... is there a chance of having a go at this 13105? I don't have range for any of the stuff that our TVP and T100 are trying to light up right now. Alright, this Badger... Oh, never mind. T92 got him. Oh, hello, Jaeger. Come on, aim, 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 aim. Quicker than that. Never mind. 268's in trouble. Oh, we actually have a shot there. Maybe. If it doesn't hit a house. No, it hit a house. Now there's another Jaeger going for our Badger. So it's the southern flank that's kind of collapsed, but I don't know. We've got action and movement all over the place. I can't even help out at the cap. I really wish I could. Right, so the Badger is I'm just letting the Badger know that I am kind of aiming down in this direction. What, you'll hold me to that? Do you mean you'll hold me to painting my duck orange, or that I will get the 3 mark? There we go. Look away, Latika Mafia, look away. It's a sight not meant for your eyes. Well, that 57 Heavy's got to be feeling a little bit nervous with just the amount of artillery that's probably pointing at him, that is pointing at him. I definitely won't be the only one. Painting the Tog would be fun. Although one imagines it to be a bit like the Thingamy Bridge. The fourth bridge. And requiring lots and lots of paint. Although, you know, most bridges require a lot of paint. It's just when factoids about bridges and paint are given out, it tends to be the fourth road bridge. Hey, strangers. Oh, and splosh. There we go. Splosh, splosh. I sploshed him. Yeah, I don't even, you guys. I don't even. Yeah, this is actually much more driving than I'm comfortable with in an artillery, all this having to use the WASD keys, but it's a bit of a necessity when you don't have the range, which this thing just does not. So, you know, conk GC buffs when? Wargaming? It's clearly weak right now. It needs to be able to sit as far away as possible from the enemy and never have to move. All of this having to drive around to get in range of things is just, that's just not. We can't be having that. There we go. A bit more damage. I was worried for a second there and I'd actually somehow killed the badger, but no, it was actually this 263. Our object 261's just going for it though. Look at this. These things are basically the same machine, I believe. Only, you know, one's an artillery and one's a tank destroyer. Splosh damage. That's it. That's what it is now. Or at least, you know, for the rest of this stream. Hey, Oddball Kelly. This is probably a bit of a one-off. The next stream will almost certainly be warships. But, oh, there we go. Collateral damage, SPG-9, and I got both things, so I hopefully got a nice chunk of credits for doing that. Where were we on the team list? Not that it matters that much. On 2k, 3 kills, 1100 damage from stunning. So that's fine. That was all from only 2 hits, and the rest was all splashes. That's the thing with CGC, is you just don't have to care. It's just all of the splashes. Right. Yeah, I thought that one would probably be quite an easy one with the CGC. So we've got some boxes. We'll open that in a second. So what are the other missions? That's 9. 10 is cause or assist in causing 3,000 hit points by stunning or immobilizing. I think that one... How is that different from 6? Oh, 6 is 5 vehicles, and then that's an amount to cause. Stun 3 vehicles with a single shot. Again, this one ought to not be too difficult with the Conk GC. So yeah, that was some extra credits. And we get 1 decorations box as well. Right, somebody wanted a platoon for some reason. See you, Delphic Ratio. Thank you for tuning in. I do recommend that you go and have a nice long wash, or at least get the eye bleach after having watched this stream, just to be on the safe side. Some of the filth may have permeated. Right, oh, we got a nice decoration for the top of the tree, and I think everything else is just like things we've already got. Could have... Would having another one of those increase anything? I don't know, maybe? Don't think so. Anyway, let's where are we? We've got to be getting close to being able to craft a tier 5 of something. I don't need that many more shards before I can craft a tier 5. So let's break those. Sacrificial Welshman. Well, that would be, you know, as part of a fine and long tradition of the British military, the Sacrificial Welshman. So, sure. So who was it? It was, I think, Korpenflieger and I'm assuming the names are going to be the same. Presuming Korpenflieger's still around. Korpenflieger is showing as being offline. Also, hey strangers, did I say hello before? I don't know. Anyway, you've tuned in to see the filth in action. And okay, we'll try. I can spell. I can definitely spell. Craig PD. You're also, well, I'm presuming that's you. Give me a message, Craig PD. I'm on EU2 apparently, and I shall invite you. You're in battle, Korpenflieger. Okay, we'll wait for Korpenflieger and Craig to join the thing. And who's this? Caspian Piper. There we go. Right, invite to platoon. Can click create platoon. Oh, invite to tactical unit. There we go. I think that sent a thing. I think. Has that sent an invite? Maybe. I don't know. I'm so out of practice with this. I have no idea. Right, there we go. Invite. I'm just doing it that way, and then that should definitely be an invite sent. There we go. Priceless pancake. No, this is an optical illusion. This is in fact a heavy tank. We're not playing artillery. We're definitely not playing as artillery. No. Lies. That's just, yeah. You must have fallen down and hit your head or something. That's what it is. So I don't know. While we're waiting for Corp and Flieger to, well, you know what? No, we'll go and then I'm the big important streamer. Goddammit! I've got my I'm a big deal around here. Or what was the exact phrasing? I'm kind of a big deal or something. Shirt on. So obviously, you know, I should make him wait for me because I'm a unicum jerk, you guys. I'm a typical unicum jerk. Yeah, and I've got to practice that a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, okay. We'll do it that way, Corpun. Though, pop me a message when you've done with your battle, and I'll invite you when we're done with ours. Yeah, it's Churchill gun carrier. It's a CGC. Obviously, it's a CGC. I mean, come on. It's right there. CGC. You just have to ignore the bit where it says Onkara. The Onkara bit's just like a typo. It's just the CGC. You'll finish. Oh yes, you were doing the. Are you still doing that? Are you? Shadow 102. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what that's come out like. God, this thing at tier 6 would be. I mean, you know, at this tier, at that tier, this gun would just to be. It would be its old levels of lethality. I think it absolutely would. And then you could have gunnery duels with KV2s. Are there people who have been... Have we got people trying to join his platoons? I don't know. Maybe he spotted something I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what you're referring to there, Craig, but I presume you're referring to something and not just, you know, wittering madly, because I'm the person that witters madly around here, goddammit. That's my purview. Get your own shtick. Yeah, don't expect high quality entertainment or making sense, you know, little things like that. This is not the purpose of this stream at all. The purpose we're here to click on things and chew gum, and I'm all out of chewing gum, which I don't really like anyway. But I've got plenty of clicks left, so you know that's fine. Oh, there are ITTR players. Well, have we got two? I don't even... Swan and... Is there some on the other side? Am I just not seeing them because I'm a dunce? I don't know. Anyway. Right. Centurion 7-1. As we're here and aimed, this is still a useful thing to fire at, so we'll chip a bit of health off him and then we'll switch to the flank that Craig is on. Oh, no tracking, unfortunately. What was my mission again? Stun 3 vehicles with a single shot. Well, this is definitely the better flank for this. We need that group of tanks clustered together. Although I don't know if there really are at this point. Too many tanks all clustered together. Is it Corp and Flieger? Is it the same name though? Because I was trying to figure that out. I'm guessing it is. Right, let's have a go at the WZ1. The Juan, the Spanish tank. Only 20 damage done now. Oh, we need the tanks to cluster together and just a nice little tight, you know. They're starting to push through, which is good. Try and get a stun in on this 113. If he'll just cooperatively hold still. hit. Oh, well, it was a hit, but it wasn't a high damage hit. Did get the stun there. Just gonna knock his effectiveness out for a little bit. Right, maybe we'll harass this 183 for a little bit instead, because they look like they're doing alright on that flank, whereas this 183 is basically keeping this flank back. The 183 and the Centurion spotting. It's EU2 we're on, Korpenflieger. Oh yeah, they killed the Centurion, that's useful. Right, even if we're just splashing the 183, making this position untenable for him. Oh, hello! And there's the counter battery. Yeah, that will help out our team. Well, the 55's been counter batteried as well, so we know we're definitely going to have to move. See, again, I specifically said this before. I'm being way too complacent in terms of the possibility of being counter batteried. And there it nearly got me blown up. But it's fine, my adrenaline rush captain skill will kick in and I'll reload super quickly and... oh wait, wrong game. God damn it. Oh well. I mean, there is an adrenaline rush in this game as well, but I don't know if I have it on this crew. I might do. If I get any benefit from it, it's a pretty minimal one. Well, at least one of their artilleries is focused on trying to hit us and therefore not hit our teammates. Hey JVC, I've actually... okay. I did play a fair few... well, not a fair few. I've played some games earlier in Warships. I had a really good Fletcher game, which will probably appear on the channel at some point. It's my first outing with the D-hull Fletcher, where there's actually been a carrier, and it was pretty nice. I actually got to use an AA spec American destroyer and put it through its paces, and it helped win the game. Specifically having the AA spec in that scenario helped win the game. So yeah, I don't know which game it would have been earlier, but I did play a few. But I've also got chat turned off for World Warships at the moment. So, yeah, IS4, did you not see the minimap and see that this guy turned to... apparently not. Anyway, if the 183 is still there or thereabouts, I might get some shots. Oh, there was some... there's been some one-sided-ish games in Warships recently as well, but... as bad as it can be in Warships, it's very rarely as bad as it is in World of Tanks. Having said that, there was one game where it was our team got wiped and we killed literally one enemy ship, and that's as bad a result as I've seen in Warships probably ever. So yeah, to get worse than that, it would have to be a 12-0 wipe essentially. So, yeah, that was a pretty bad team. That was a game that was over inside of 9 minutes. That's the equivalent of a 3-minute game in World of Tanks. Oh, it was that game. Okay, yeah, it was that game. But, you know, I'm not too mad about it, because that kind of game is reasonably rare, whereas in World of Tanks it's like, well, okay, another completely one-sided result. But this one's actually gone on a little bit longer and we've lost less than half the team, so this was a fairly convincing win. And I'm sure Craig has done some good work on that flank. Well, we're about to see. And if not, we can all point and laugh and go, ha ha, ha ha, noob. I don't know. I don't know where I was with that thought. Something about one-sided games in tanks being common, and yeah. Right, I actually got Confederate out of that. I was spreading around the love. So much love. Again, not a huge amount of stun, but I don't think I was ever really shooting things that were in front of a lot of our vehicles. I did get 2 bonds, however. That's rather nice. Why did I not shoot the blob of friendlies? I did that yesterday, strangers. I had a Himmelsdorf game yesterday. An encounter game, so we all started on the slope of the hill, and I, in my CGC, tried to fire at the top, but the entire team that had stuck around on the hill was was clustered on that crest. And so I splashed friendly tanks for about 13 to 1400 damage and stunned about 5 friendlies, 6 friendlies, something like that. So yeah, I probably got some angry messages after that one in the in-game chat, but because I had it turned off, I didn't get to see any of them, so it was fine. It was fine. I can just tell myself that they were graciously accepting of my mistake, and they weren't fussed about it at all, and probably didn't use any bad language whatsoever. Yep. Also, the tooth fairy is real. Yeah. Totally, you guys. Right, I've sent an invite Corpun. Who seems to have promptly disappeared offline. Oh, also, we didn't even see... I wasn't looking properly. How did Craig PD do? Top of the team, 5k damage. Well done, Craig. That was quite a convincing 215B game. Comfortably ahead of pretty much everybody else except the Waffle 4, and even then you had 2,000 more damage. So that wasn't too shabby. 100k credits as well, 5.8k XP. Yeah, that's definitely not too shabby. Where am I looking there? Wrong list. Right, Corpun Flyer. Let's try another invite. And oh, there we go, he's actually there. That's me paying attention, and also another example of how well my brain is working. Oh, you were switching server. Okay, fair enough. I forgive you. This time. Yeah, no, I don't know where I'm... Again, don't know where I'm going with that thought. Just an attempt to sound menacing for some reason. To channel my inner Sith that really isn't too far from the surface. We could have done a hipster platoon here. We could have had the 215B, the Foch 155, and the 183. All 3 of the tier 10 removed top of the tech tree tanks. And instead, here I am in my bright orange thing. It's safety orange. It's to let people know, you know, to make people aware that there might be dangerous things going on around this vehicle. That's what it is. It makes it safer, you guys. It does, honest. It's like a high-vis vest, but for my artillery. Your friend Armor has started watching. Oh dear. Just everybody's watching me just debase myself on the internet. And I'm not even doing it for money. Well, I kind of am doing it for money, actually. That probably makes it worse. It's fine. It's an old and honourable profession. Yes. Anyway. Yeah, once upon a time I did Armor. Quite famously, I did. I said, I'm going to research it. I'm going to unlock the British tech tree. I'm never actually going to play the Conch GC. And then I did. So that was absolutely 100% me just being a weak-willed individual and deciding that it would be the easiest artillery to do the personal artillery missions with. Because otherwise I would have had to start grinding a whole other line. And so that's my justification for being completely hypocritical and absolutely doing the thing I said I wasn't going to do. So, no excuses. You're absolutely right. I did say I wasn't going to do it. And then I did. But that's fine. And now you understand the reason for the backside wiggling. It's all about getting notes in the garter belt. That's also true. That is indeed also true. Oh dear, Corporal Flieger's dead already. Well, if they manage to, like, either if they just load the premium or if they manage to hit your weak spots consistently. Oh, Craig has also gotten himself into rather bad trouble. Yeah, the Foch 155 is not a consistent tank in terms of armour bounciness. Why are we not getting... is it because I'm on a slope? Yes, it's because I'm on a slope. And now I have no shot whatsoever. Let's drive forwards to get this. Why? What's blocking my... Is there a wall in the way? Is it the pipes? It might be the pipes. I'll try the shot anyway. No, it's hitting some of these pipes. That's awkward. That's very awkward. Also, I'm spotted. Oh, yeah, I need to check. Well, you guys, I'm not going to reload in time, so let's assume the position. Let's bend over and take it gracefully. If such a thing is possible. Oh, it wasn't even the bat chat, it was the enemy 53-55s that got me. Wow, yeah, this is one of those games. 3 minutes and we're done. At least we didn't have to wait ages and ages for it to be over, I suppose. Yeah, you just... yeah, the warships, you just don't quite get this feeling of being utterly mismatched nearly as often as you do in World of Tanks. Well, this was just a complete wipe, basically. 3 minutes and 19 seconds, and that was how long we lasted. Don't think I'll have made any money on this one somehow. So, yeah, we're not going to have made anything. No, lost 25k credits. Not really surprised. I had the chance to shoot 2 shells, and the game was basically already over at that point. So that was a good team. Mismatches happen all the time. It just takes 5 minutes to... yes and no. I mean, yes, you're right. The matchmaking is just as varied, but I feel like you can have more individual influence in World of Warships, just from the nature of the game. But there are sometimes games where you just do seem to get rolled over, and the map control's so completely horrible that the enemy team just walks away with it without having to really try. Anyway, so I can see this custom camos. It's in the settings. Yeah, if anyone's interested, by the way, you have to specifically toggle it on. So it's on the general settings page, and then you scroll all the way down, and they've basically tacked it on the bottom, the very bottom. So by default, it is checked on. And so you can see your own completely ahistorical coloured tanks, but you won't see anybody else's. And it also hides the non-historical roundels and things like that. So you have to uncheck that to actually see the horrible monstrosity that is my orange, beautiful Churchill gun carrier. It's a Churchill gun carrier, you guys. It's just an upgraded Churchill gun carrier. Yeah. I feel like there's more room for comebacks in warships, but still you do sometimes get just the runaway games where your map control is so poor that and maybe you lose a bunch of ships very, very quickly that it just kind of snowballs in one direction unstoppably. And actually, in some ways, the games where you have clearly lost, and this maybe does apply more to warships, the games where you have clearly lost, but then it still drags on for minutes and minutes and minutes, and you have to wait for the match to end, those are annoying as well in their own way. And it can end up being tempting just to, like, suicide into the enemy just to get things over with already. So... yeah, I won't deny that that is also its own special kind of annoying. Right, Paris again. So this is going to be an excellent map for me in an artillery. Do you mean ramming? Yeah, the ramming thing, like the ramming mechanics in World of Tanks can sometimes trip people up, but in World of Warships it's, I think, a little bit more straightforward. There's a lot of mechanics in World of Warships that are comparatively more straightforward, more comprehensible, and less confusing. You know, you can explain the basics of the spotting mechanics in World of Tanks to somebody, and I've been playing this game for years at this point, and I think I reasonably well understand how the spotting mechanics work, and yet still sometimes you'll get those cases where you think, wait, how the hell was I just spotted? And you know, clearly there is a reason within the game engine, within the rules, World of Tanks why that would have happened, but it's not exactly readily comprehensible to you as a player. There's a couple of things like that in Warships as well. Things like multiple, like a single shell, basically generating multiples of damage in terms of the penetration mechanics. Like that can be a bit confusing for people. Where you can have a shell that counts as both a full penetration and an overpen in terms of the damage it's done. Or sometimes you get a shell that's marked as a penetrating shot, except it does 0 damage, and in that case it either means that you've penetrated like an anti-aircraft mount or a secondary gun, and it's penetrated, it's done damage to the hit point pool of that secondary gun, but it might not necessarily have knocked it out. And the other scenario is that you can actually penetrate the torpedo belt, which acts almost like spaced armor, so it goes into the torpedo belt and explodes, but doesn't actually explode within the hull of the ship, and therefore doesn't do any damage as far as the hit points is concerned. So there are some scenarios where it can be confusing in Warships, but just sometimes the things that happen in World of Tanks can baffle the most seasoned of players. Like you watch Cirque on stream, and he's a very knowledgeable player. He's been playing for a very long time. He's a very good player, and even then sometimes things will happen and it'll just be like, wait, what? And he just, you know, struggles to understand how he's been spotted or how a certain penetration happened or some such thing. But I think that's just, I don't know, you set up complex systems within games and you're always going to get those edge cases that happen if enough people are playing. And if for tanks it's maybe more kind of edge cases, whereas Warships it's maybe just mechanics that are slightly confusing at first glance. But I mean, War Thunder's got plenty of that sort of thing as well. It's definitely not unique to these kinds of games. And there's probably other examples from other kinds of games as well. That could actually be a... I don't know if you'd make it a game mode exactly, but you know. We were coming up with possible April 1st artillery modes earlier. You could do World of Warships April 1st, where it's like triremes and you have to go around ramming people in other triremes. That could work, right? Probably not. Mind you, War Thunder did sailing ships. Oh, talking of ships, here's something I am kind of interested in. You all remember Naval Action, right? They are... I think they must be reasonably close... Oh, you did a little turn. They must be reasonably close at this point to launching it publicly. They're basically taking the battle portion of the game and separating it out from the open world stuff and putting it as a free-to-play title. I can't even remember the company's name now, the publisher's name, but I've been meaning to email them, except last time I tried to email them about anything, they weren't very helpful, they weren't very friendly. There was just a kind of slightly curt reply of, well, it'll be out soon. And the only reason I did get into Naval Action when I did was I think I got a code off RamJB. So I don't know. I could try my luck again, I suppose, and say, hey, I've contacted you once before, I have a YouTube channel, I'm interested in, what is it, Naval Action Legends or something like that. See, that was the fun part of Naval Action for me. The open world stuff just, I don't know, grinding for resources and sailing around and collecting stuff, and like I can see how that's going to appeal to some people. And I keep tabs on, there's some guy that's got a, I can't remember his name now, but he does a series of like weekly news reports where he keeps up on the happenings in the in-game open world in terms of like who controls which ports. Have I done any damage so far? Only a little bit. So you know, I kind of vaguely keep tabs on what's going on in Naval Action Open World, but I don't want to play it. I just don't. It's the battles that are fun for me. So if they have a thing where it's just the battles, then that's a big thumbs up. If enough people play, we'll get fair and balanced matchmaking. Well, it depends on your definition of fair and balanced there, I suppose. Game Labs, there we go. Yeah, Game Labs, which is not to be confused with Wargaming Labs, which is one of their either studios they've acquired or a in-house publisher or in-house studio they've set up, or I don't even know what you'd call that. Oh, got a splash anyway. This isn't looking so good. I might have to shift. We still got a big tranche of tanks here. That's not the right word to use for that context, but whatever. But there's a chance somebody might sneak up around behind that, so I'm going to reposition a little bit. Use the alternate mode. Do you mean this? Yeah, I'm still not... I don't know. I still can't quite get used to that. It's all this newfangled, fancy, high-tech, modern, you know, as opposed to the completely standard overhead World War II satellite view. Which it is quite easy to lock. Right, there doesn't seem to be much point to me trying to sit and do things in arty view, so you know what, we're just going to go shotgun something. It's actually not been too bad armor. We've had this one time already, and we've had which one was it? Ensk, which is not great for artillery, and then we had Himmelsdorf. So we've gotten off relatively lightly in terms of the maps that just completely suck for artillery. Ooh. Can we... clicking the edge of the building? Oh! Spotted. What am I spotted by? Uh-oh. TVP. Ah. Oh, he was shooting me without getting lit up himself. Oh, there he is. Craig spotted him. Yeah, there was no way I was gonna... Okay, once he spotted me, that was it. I was dead. And there's the Sheridan at our base. Yeah, I kind of thought that they would use that opportunity. So, yeah, once again, not a particularly good game on Paris in artillery, but it's probably one of the more arty unfriendly maps. Actually, it might even be the most arty unfriendly map at this point. I'm not sure. I mean, there are others. Oh well, it gives me a chance to glance at my inbox and see that, hooray, I've gotten one of those incredibly random emails where they've remonetized one of my videos. Almost every video for the last 2-3 weeks, something like that, has basically been demonetized at some point. The only exceptions have been the stream VODs, and I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But yeah, every single one of them, otherwise, has been demonetized and remonetized. So I've lost maybe half of my YouTube ad revenue, which wasn't exactly, you know, super amazing to begin with, because a lot of people still ad block. So that's good. And then just occasionally, out of the blue, they randomly, like, most of the time I don't get emails saying, hey, this has been remonetized. So I don't know what was special about that one, but they did send an email, so anyway. Oh, nothing else interesting in there. See, maybe the speculation armor, but the thing is, a lot of my older videos, like I was getting 1 out of half a dozen videos. 1 out of every 5 or 6 videos was getting just randomly demonetized. And there's actually a couple that still are of older ones where basically they haven't had many or any views recently, so they'll probably never be remonetized. But yeah, he's... Whoa, there we go. Craig in with the snapshots there. He might actually be kind of carrying this one. But yeah, as I said, over the last like 2 to 3 weeks, it's been almost all of them and it's not like the quality of my content's suddenly radically changed. I haven't suddenly been sticking... I don't even know, like, I haven't suddenly been sticking swastikas in all my thumbnails or anything like that, to pick a really extreme example. So, who knows? Who knows? But they've just all been getting demonetized. But I have seen speculation that, yeah, once again, Craig, top of the team. Yeah, I've seen speculation that you know, because we're covering stuff that's related to war, even kind of obliquely, that it's more likely to happen. But there are, like, the copyright lawyer guy, Leonard J. French, who I've actually now played tanks with myself on NA. Like, a lot of his video, almost all his videos get demonetized as well, and he talks about, you know, he's basically talking about current affairs and news stuff as pertains to the law. He's basically talking about law cases. More specifically, most often it's copyright law cases, but for some reason those all get demonetized. He had a whole video on copyright law for YouTube content creators that got demonetized because apparently that wasn't advertiser friendly. So it's impossible to tell what's going on with the algorithm, or if there's some kind of human oversight where it's some person that decides, I don't like this person's content, and just demonetizes all your video, all your videos. It's literally impossible to tell. We don't know. We absolutely are kept in the dark about all of this. Anyway, let's see what decoration. I don't think we got any. I didn't spot any 4s and 5s in there. No, I think these are all... No, yes, we can just smash all the things, so we'll do that. And that should almost be enough for a 5. We'll do the snowman. You know what? We'll do the snowman as our first level 5 something. So let's craft, and we'll pick the snowman. And I can't remember if it's 960. Yeah, if you pick a specific one, it's for some reason way more expensive. But I guess that's... I don't care, so I'm just going with the random ones. But I guess that's for people that are trying to do the collections thing. Right, craft. There is actually, and this made me laugh, basically my first ever video upload to YouTube, which, you know, if you've plumbed the depths of my videos, you may have come across this. And you know what, we'll even I'm actually gonna we're gonna show this live on air very professionally. And it's permanently demonetized, and I think it's because it has the word attack in the title. But the video itself, like there do seem to be some things, you know, that if there's some certain keywords, that it just triggers the demonetization, or maybe certain tags. So if I switch on display capture, there we go. So this video here, when piglets attack, 35 seconds. Let's play this video. The very first video I think I ever... Actually, it might be the very second video. This was way before I ever was thinking of doing YouTube things. It was just like, here's a random video clip that I uploaded to the internet from way back when my parents were keeping pigs. So this isn't suitable for advertisers, you guys, because there's a vicious hog attack going on right now, and clearly this horrific imagery will cause the next adpocalypse. But because it's an old video, you know, this isn't going to get the views, and it's never going to get demonetized. Not that it really matters, it just illustrates how kind of, I don't know, ridiculous the system is. It's just kind of half-assed by its nature. Did they taste good? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were a bit sad to see them go, but yeah, they tasted good. They really did. Free-range pig is, mwah, very nice. It was actually like the ones they felt, my parents felt most guilty about was the first 3 that they had, because they got 3 weaners. They're literally called weaners when they're of a certain age, because, you know, they've been weaned off their mothers, hence they are weaners. So you get the youngish pigs, they're like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months old, something like that, maybe not even that old. And they fattened them up, they named them, they got to know them, and then came the day when they had to take them off to the slaughterhouse, and they felt so guilty about it. But then when the pork actually came back, they decided that they were going to do it again. So yeah, but I mean, you know, they had how many pigs did they have through the years? It was a couple of years where they had pigs anyway, and they were happy pigs. You know, they had a good life whilst they had life, those pigs. So it was certainly nicer than commercially reared pigs do or have. They actually had some Gloucestershire old spots at one point, which are one of these kind of old English breeds that are in danger even. Although they kind of are dangerous, actually. You don't want to be on the wrong end of an angry pig. They are big and they are mostly muscle. So yeah, we had a boar for a while, and you always had to be careful about around them, because you know, he was relatively good-natured, but there are plenty of stories around of farmers who got on the wrong end of a boar in a bad mood. And you know, these are big, strong animals. You don't underestimate them. So yeah, I think there were 1 or 2 occasions where I ended up losing my wellies in the mud because I had to make a slightly sharpish retreat because a pig decided to get a bit grumpy with me. Not seriously, you know, I'm going to attack you, Grumpy, but a bit kind of, I'm a little bit annoyed, so I'm going to try and nip you, Grumpy. Which, you know, when it's like 200 plus kilos of pig is still a little bit unnerving. What's my take on the movie Babe? Well, I mean, it was entertaining, and pigs are absolutely smart enough. Yeah, you could definitely train a pig. You know, if you so desired, you could. Well, I think definitely you could probably train a pig. But the hard part might be actually convincing the pig to do the things you want it to do. They may be a little more like cats than dogs in that regard. Where did that shell go? I didn't see that shell. Also, it just permeated into my brain. We had a follow there, didn't we? Crinzin, thank you very much, Crinzin. Oh, there's a barn there, although he might have run away. Is it worth the speculative shot into the bushes? I didn't mean to turn there, never mind. Oh, there's a tree going over. Right, if he's repositioned behind that tree, we'll give it a go. That wasn't a hit, but it doesn't discount the possibility of a splash. But yeah, pigs are smart. I quite like pigs. They're quite social animals. Cows are a bit less smart, but cows can be quite nice as well. There's a friend of my parents who they typically have a cow or two. Not like, you know, a whole herd, but they have a cow or two, and so you can get to know them kind of a bit, you know, more close up. They're very skittish creatures, though, cows. But, you know, if you approach them... I had an experience once of, like, I just kind of sat down in the middle of their field and let the cow come up to me, and it was just... it was a slightly surreal experience, because, you know, cows also quite large creatures, but as I wasn't trying to threaten her or, you know, get in between her and a calf or any such thing, then... she just kind of came up and sniffed me like she was a dog. Not, you know, exactly for the same reasons as a dog would sniff you, but just came up and was curious. But again, they taste very good. Free range beef. Oh, it's just, yeah. There's an advantage of knowing people. Heck, there's one of the neighbours that has some of their lambs on part of the land that's technically assigned to my parents' croft, but like they're not actually using it for livestock. My parents, well, they need livestock. They've got at the moment chickens, so they basically said to these neighbours, well, you can keep your sheep on this part of this land, and so every year they get literally a bag of lamb left in the kitchen sink as kind of like payment, essentially, because they're not charging the neighbours for the use of the land. So yeah, just out of gratefulness, they've yeah, I'm kind of doomed here. We had nobody on that flank, so R.I.P. me. There's artillery. It might have been the Sheridan. I don't know what spotted me. 100 LT. I'm just going to have to cower behind this this tree. So yeah, it's a hard life. You know, when I disappear to go to my go to my parents on Sunday evenings, it's usually because there's some very high quality, you know, like pork or lamb or beef or something on offer. My dad also makes some pretty nice Yorkshire puddings. Anyway, I'm at that stage. I'm at that stage of just rambling about anything and everything, apparently. So I don't know that we'll actually be going for too much longer. We're already at over 2 hours. I think 1 or 2 more games, and we'll wrap things up. Because I'm absolutely, you know, I'm spacing a bit. We'll put it that way. And artillery's still a decent class to play if you're feeling a bit spacey, I suppose. But it is probably a sign that I should be wrapping things up. You're trying to figure out how I had a snub-nosed Foch until you realised it was artillery. I like the colour orange. I did say in that video, Chaser, you know, I did say that that I used that that particular paint scheme on pretty much all of my GTA Online vehicles when I was playing that more regularly, which I'm more and more disinclined to even. I don't know, like if Maxwell was doing a stream where he had it, I'd possibly reinstall it for that, but 2K/Rockstar is just getting so grasping. So, you know, there's a good chance that Red Dead Redemption will be a decent single-player game, but there's also a very good chance that it'll have a whole lot of online multiplayer BS tacked on top of it as well. So, the B1 Battle Droid. I really liked the... like, a lot of people slag off a lot of things about the prequel trilogy, but the designs were pretty damn good. Like, the actual look of it was, yeah. Do some serious CK2 and get a move on with I. Yeah, CK2's been going a while, hasn't it? I was trying to record that the other day. Tomorrow's video was supposed to be CK2. And then I was having some weird difficulties when I was trying to get the client going, so I think I've got it sorted out now. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow anyway. I thought about at least trying to record CK2 today and then just do all the editing work tomorrow, but my brain's just... Hence the decision to stream wonderful, amazing... Oh, didn't mean to do that. Amazing, wonderful, very entertaining, widely beloved artillery. And did I mention amazing and wonderful and wonderful and amazing? Is there any more follows or anything I've missed? No, I don't think so. A CK2 starter video. I've attempted to do that about 3 times now myself, and I keep thinking I'll manage something like the Stellaris video I did. But the thing is, CK2's had so much added to it with the DLCs that you've then got to unpick. Do you just talk about the base game? Do you talk about the important bits of the DLCs? Do you talk about with all of the DLCs? Yeah, Paradox's DLC policy makes it a bit tricky, and also it's just there's a lot to cover. Like the actual core of the game is relatively comprehensible, but there's just so many interactions in CK2. That's the part where it gets complicated. So I do have in mind to try and do that myself I am Kosh, some kind of introductory video to CK2, but yeah, my attempts so far have failed, and these are attempts that have basically included recording several hours of footage and then realising that it was just kind of flabby and long-winded and repetitious, and yeah, so it might be the kind of thing that I need to literally write a script for, which is something I basically never do for my videos. At most, I have sometimes in the past. I've done like essentially a list of bullet points, so that I've got a list in front of me of the things that I want to cover in a video. But something like CK2 might require a full-blown script. So, yeah. See you, Foo. Thank you for tuning in. As I've said, I'm not going to go for too much longer myself. I didn't even realise the time really until I noticed that I've been going for over 2 hours. Do CK2 live. That would be, I think, I mean, I've had that thought as well, where you know, like, as the questions come up, we can do a multiplayer session and try and explain things as we go along. But like that would end up being very unfocused, I feel. It seems like the kind of thing where you would basically need a very structured approach to it to adequately explain all the things that one needs to explain. Right, there's heavies coming up that line, which is not good. Can we maybe hit this 54 without hitting it? Let's try it. Oh, there we go. Whoa! Oh, okay, no, that wasn't all me. There was somebody else hitting me at exactly the same time, but still nearly 600 damage out of that. But yeah, hitting him for 800 damage would have been pretty amazing these days. Right. Good news, we've won the fight pretty much. Bad news, I might not be able to drive past here without getting shot at. Now that VKP is desperately hanging on for life, but he's got a Type 5 heavy in his face, so he's not really enjoying life right now, I think. My Steam isn't on, is it? Don't think so. You're asking if I've got anything else running in the background? No, Steam's not on. Are we getting stuttering with the stream? I'm not seeing any drop of frame rate. I'm not seeing any drop of anything. So, yeah. Oh wait, you are asking is my Steam on because you because you're trying to give me something. Oh, okay. The penny drops. The penny drops. Can I even hit this Type 4? Let's get it out. No, but I can at least stun it. No worries, Craig. Thank you for joining and, you know, sacrificing yourself for the greater good of entertaining the viewers. The greater good. And, yeah, hopefully you didn't find the fact that it was guaranteed artillery. Oh, this might be it. This might be the urn. Splash 3 tanks with one. Oh, one of you guys drive close to the... No, stop driving away from each other. No. Oh, god damn it. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Craig, is what I was trying to say, but... Oh, that was so tantalisingly close to being what I needed. If I reposition a little bit, I can maybe hit that Type 5. I'm almost certainly going to get a tank destroyer or a French heavy tank up the butt sometime soon. Not been seen in a while, so they're probably driving up the hill behind me. No, I can't actually hit there at that point. Ah, that was tantalising. See, I am Kosh, and also for reference, it is The Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, and not, as for some reason Jingles keeps remembering it as, the Orkneys. At least he's got it, you know, in the region of a Scottish island. I'll give him that. I'm not sure how he got it into his head that it was the Orkneys, which is a whole other group of islands. That's the Northern Isles, and I'm here in the Western Isles. Anyway, commence Operation Bumwiggle once again. But to be fair to him, I do things like that all the time. I remember, you know, the class of information, but not the specifics. Oh, they're actually capped. I didn't even get to wiggle my bum at the enemy. Okay. I don't know why they're capped. Could easily have just killed me, unless one of the light tanks had a capping mission. I don't know. That was fairly one-sided, although somehow I made money? I'm confused. I mean, I guess I wasn't blown up, so I didn't get repair costs. And I didn't fire a lot of shells that did 0 damage, because I only fired a couple of shells. I don't know. It was enough to turn a very small profit. So yeah, I do things like that, though. I'll remember, you know, a thing that is in the vague vicinity of the information, like the specific fact. I'll remember a part of, you know, the class of that information, if that makes any sense. And then I'll forget the actual specific thing. So, I'm not going to hold it against him. Because I get confused like that all the time. Spotting damage, who knows? Might have been spotting damage. Scout artillery, best artillery. It's well known. You have received a gift copy of the game Starbound. Well, thank you very much, Ginge. I did rather get into Terraria, and then I remembered Starbound as the thing. It's actually one of my Patreons that I play Terraria with, multiplayer, like twice a month. We've been steadily working our way through all the bosses. Completely vanilla, you know. I know there's also various Terraria mods. But yeah, the fact that Starbound is kind of the same thing, but with spaceships. You can go from planet to planet and upgrade your ship and choose to build bases, or, you know, it basically seems like a better No Man's Sky. But definitely a very similar style to Terraria, visually. What was the name of the island? Lewis. L-E-W-I-S. Technically it's Lewis and Harris, this is one of those weird, quirky, you know, out on the edges, rural things. One of those strange little conventions. Lewis and Harris are the same landmass. If you look on a map, you'll see that they are connected by land. They're, you know, physically the same island. But because basically of the history of the place and the fact that Lewis is associated with the clan MacLeod, it was like the power base of the Hebridean MacLeods, because there was another powerful MacLeod clan somewhere else in Scotland, and I forget where, but there was. And then down in Harris, that was the seat of... It's not MacNeil, the MacNeils are the Newists. I can't remember. But basically, politics and history has meant that these are counted as separate islands. To the point where, up until the 1970s, Lewis was part of, I think it was Inverness-shire, as it was then, and then Harris was part of, oh, I don't know, like West Cromarty or whatever the heck the old council area would have been called. But anyway, so like literally the same island, the same landmass, but two different councils. And it wasn't until the 70s that they were actually given their own separate council, which is now the island, the Western Isles Council, aka Carmarthen and Ellinshire, which I always horribly mispronounce, but there you go. It's like the only local authority in Scotland that has actually exercised its right to have its name be in Gaelic. Because theoretically any local authority can now, in Scotland, have its name, like its actual official name in Gaelic. It's why in the election results you now see it given the Gallic name rather than just the Western Isles. But it's a bit like sometimes when you're trying to find the place on you know, these, you know, you're trying to put your address in to some website or other. Sometimes it'll be listed as one thing, and sometimes it'll be listed as the other. It's a little bit confusing at times. So yeah, but there's a lot of politics and history bound up with this particular neck of the woods. If you ever want to read about how the Scottish kings were all bastards, well, the Stuart kings were a bit anyway, you can look up the history of the Lordship of the Isles, and it was one of the Jameses. I'm sure it was one of the Jameses. Like, because effectively for a long time the Western Isles were functionally an independent political entity, but this was obviously not on as far as the lowland kings of Scotland were concerned, and so they're basically sort of over the course of, I don't even know how many decades it would have been, but yeah, there was various concerted efforts to erode and finally just remove the power completely, and including military efforts, and that's how the title of Lord of the Isles ended up being one of the titles held by the Scottish Crown and subsequently the British Crown after the Act of Union. So the current Lord of the Isles is actually Queen Elizabeth II. So there you go, there's a random factoid for you. Yeah, my Gallic is non-existent, I will say that. I moved here in my second year of secondary school, at which point everybody starts off with the Gaelic language education in primary school, and a lot of people don't continue that into secondary school, but they at least have their primary school Gaelic. But I moved here from mainland Scotland, from the west coast of Scotland, and there's very few places outside of here. I think there's a Gaelic medium language school in Glasgow, where, you know, they teach in Gaelic, and then I think they do in Skye as well. There's like another secondary academy where they teach in Gaelic. So it's kind of like how it's not exactly the same as Wales. Jedi. The Welsh language has fared a heck of a lot better than Gaelic has, but it's not entirely dissimilar. But this ended up being like the last bastion of Scottish Gaelic. Also, thank you for the subscription, Matanza _. I'm guessing Matanza without the underscore was already taken. So yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. That is sub number 19, I think? Yes, sub number 19. We're up to 19 already. We're also getting all the good teams.
Your business is appreciated.
It's one of the reasons why I've been playing artillery over the last few days, because it's a little bit more stress-free. I can just kind of, you know, shrug my shoulders and not get quite as invested in the game. I probably said something, I'm almost certain I have said this in a previous Will of Tanks videos, because I did many tanks about artillery over the years, primarily old artillery. And one of my kind of complaints, if you want to see it that way, or criticisms, is that it's, you know, you play Will of Tanks without actually playing Will of Tanks. Which is actually exactly what I'm doing at the moment. I'm playing Will of Tanks without really wanting to play Will of Tanks. So, yeah. But, you know, people have many reasons for playing artillery. Well, you've all, you know, we should be, I don't know, maybe I should have made this one, you've forgotten the emote, you guys. I should have made it like Duck Hype or something as the, I don't think I can change the name of the emote now. Maybe Quackers would have been better. Anyway. There's Armor. I just caught that comment. Okay. There's Gaelic and then there's Gaelic. They're both spelled exactly the same, but let's see if I can get this the right way around, because I might have actually been pronouncing the wrong one. I think I want to say Gaelic is Irish Gaelic, It's much more widely spoken in the Republic of Ireland. Not so much in Ulster, not so much in Northern Ireland. There's actually a related dialect, because there's Scots as well. You know, you might be thinking, well, what about Scots? Scots is kind of more like a dialect of English, but there's a bit of debate about that. And there's actually a related dialect in Northern Ireland called Ullans, I believe. Or is it Lallans? No, I think it's Ullans. So, yeah. Gaelic is Irish Gaelic, and then Gaelic is Scots Gaelic. But usually if people are talking about one specifically, they'll say Scots or Irish. So, yeah, they're related languages. It's not quite so much as I'm trying to think, like Serbian and Croatian, for example, where there's a degree of mutual intelligibility between the two languages, to the point where at one point they were thought to be basically the same language. And I know there's other languages out there that do have that kind of, like Dutch and Afrikaans would be another example, where, you know, they've drifted apart from each other, but there is that degree of mutual intelligibility. I think there's been a bit more drift between the two, between Scots and Irish Gaelic / Gaelic. But there are some similarities, and there are some shared words still. But you couldn't have somebody speaking Irish Gaelic to somebody who understands Scots Gaelic and for them to have a complete conversation with each other. They would struggle to understand each other. So they are effectively separate languages, but you know, they clearly come out of the same root. Anyway, I'm just full of I don't know. Anyway, we'll make this the last one. I think we'll make this the last one. We're getting history lessons and linguistic lessons, and I don't even know what else. And I might not even be remembering quite all of the facts correctly when I'm talking about this stuff. I think Dutch, isn't it? Is it Suriname? I can't remember. There's a bit of isn't there a bit of northern South America which was a former Dutch? Like, don't they still speak a bit of Dutch there? I'm not sure much Dutch survives in Indonesia, however. There's probably some Dutch speakers there still, but I would imagine it's a fairly minority language. Anyway. And now File Berserker's bringing in... Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. No, well, you would say, yeah, you could say... that would get a bit confusing. You'd have to figure out from the context, but you could say Gaelic in the context of meaning, you know, French. But I don't think that was an actual language. France used to have loads of languages. You go back to, like, way more than Britain. Because in Scotland, what happened was Scots gradually displaced Gaelic, and it got pushed further and further north. Or is it Gaelic for Scots? I'm tired enough that I can't remember which one's which. But it basically displaced, and the speakers got like the territory within which it was natively spoken just progressively shrank and got pushed toward the fringes of the country, until eventually it was pretty much just here, the Western Isles, where it was still natively spoken. And I think it was only the 1970s where the last resident of the islands who only spoke Gaelic and didn't speak any English at all. It was only then, you know, that they passed away. So yeah, it's got quite an interesting history, and it's very tied into the politics of Scotland through the ages. There's actually quite an interesting book which covers quite a lot of this stuff, called The Last of the Free, by a Scottish historian called James Hunter, which I can kind of recommend. That was quite interesting. Yeah, Germany, a lot of these places, like I think France, it happened a bit earlier. And I know in Germany there's still enough, like there are still kind of like things that are almost considered regional dialects. There kind of is also regional dialects with Scots Gaelic almost. You know, there's the kind of Gaelic that's spoken here in the Western Isles, and then there's the Gaelic of I think Skye was slightly different, and I can't remember what the differences were. But like even within Gaelic, you know, there were differences. It might be true for Ireland as well. But I know with France, it was 15th, 16th century, and French started to really be pushed as, you know, the language of France. I want to say it was one of the Louises, the Louis, that really pushed for it. But you know, there is a long history of this in many countries of language as a means of asserting political control. It's definitely not unique to, you know, Scotland or France or Germany. But those are just, you know, Scotland and France are just examples that I happen to know of. Yeah, I do know German. In Germany, there's this kind of big, you know, a lot of the stereotypes associated with Germany are much more. Once you understand, they're actually much more stereotypes that are to do with specifically Bavaria. But there's a lot of stuff that kind of stereotypically comes out of the Prussian kind of territories as well. So, you know, the two Germanys, and I don't mean East and West. So that quite often happens, and you know, there's been quite a split between the lowlands, the central belt of Scotland, historically, and the Highlands and Islands, which is where the clans were such an important thing for so long. Once again, this team is maybe not doing so well. Right, you just sit there, back chat, with a nice present for you. There we go. Yeah, we're already backs against the wall, it seems like. Oh, the history of Prussia and the Teutonic Knights, and oh, there's a lot of... I know a little bit about it, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that's then ended up having unpleasant connotations. Thanks to a certain German painter who went on to have quite a different sort of career. There's actually quite an interesting, reasonably recent episode of In Our Time that was covering the Teutonic Knights. Well, specifically the Baltic Crusades. But obviously, you know, the Teutonic Order was a pretty big component of that. I'm not screwed here. Oh, and I'll get one more shot off. Unless one of the other artists blaps me. No, they did. Oh, they were both firing premium ammo as well. That's the one thing I haven't done. That's the one thing that's too dirty for me, and also it would just cost too much, because I haven't fired a single round of premium ammo this entire stream. Thank you for the follow, Captain Badger. Also, there were some bits from I Am Kosh. I don't know if he's even still around, but thanks for the Lewis history. So, it's a bit disappointing to end on a loss, but on the other hand, I had so many of these games today, and yesterday, and the day before that I don't really care. I did one of the missions, and we got some Christmas present decoration crate box it's not gambling on its loot system drop reward thingies. So, you know, it wasn't a complete waste of time. And also, I've done another one, SPG-11, stuns 3 vehicles, stun enemy vehicles for 150 seconds. So that was actually another thing, and another 4 crates. So actually, that's not a bad thing to end it on. Didn't get any credits for that one though, but we did get a free garage slot and 2003 experience. So let's open these final boxes. Thank you for playing, by the way, Corpenfliger. And see if we get anything. I think I've had one tier 5 decoration drop. It mostly doesn't give you those. But, you know, they want you to play, to gather the things, to craft the thing. And if this was in the game all year round, it would quickly get damn tedious. But I think because it's just once a year, and it is basically an expansion of what they did last year, it's not too bad. Although, of course, the enticement is then that, hey, you'll buy them, you give them money, and you'll buy these decorations where you're essentially not even directly getting a thing. You're getting, you know, the chance to progress through this, and therefore, at that point, it really is the crew members that you're maybe wanting to get most of. Although I've got to admit the discounts would be pretty useful as well. If I could get up to the tier 9 discount, that'll make getting the WZ a lot easier. Because that's my big thing at the moment, is I just don't have enough credits for it. No, I didn't want to. I keep doing that. They've made it a bit too easy to accidentally click on the background. And I'm so used to just being able to click wherever to drag the view around. Anyway, so the text is the snow. It's oh good lord, really? That was last year's thing. The snow tank. Well, that was remarkably lazy. Although there's actually been a thing. There's been not 1 but 2 warships videos. I'll see if I can even find. Now, iChasers covered them, but basically Wargaming paid 2 kind of separate channels to do some. Where are we? If I can find this thing. Yeah, correct. Real Life Law was one of the channels, and what was the other one? The Infographics Show. They basically got given a script by Wargaming which has some hilarious inaccuracies and just very strange things in it. And there's one particular phrase where both videos use it word for word, and it makes no damn sense, and he explains why it makes no damn sense. So, yeah, basically Wargaming just, I don't know, gave them this very lazily put together script, and then these 2 channels didn't do any fact checking whatsoever, it seems like, and the whole thing's just a lazy, sloppy mess, which makes them all look like complete twits. So, yeah, I'm not surprised if maybe they've just been copy-pasting text from previous things. So, thank you all for tuning in. I will, let's have a quick look. I will host somebody.
Your business is appreciated.
I don't know if they're going to want my filthy host after it's got artillery juice all over it, but, yeah, we'll see if we can't host somebody. Let's see, who is playing? Isolate's playing They Are Billions. There's not really a lot of people on at the moment. This is the exciting part of the stream where it's me deciding who to host. Yeah, there's not really anybody on. I'll just auto-host Isolate when I finish anyway. So you know what? We'll put on some music and we'll end the stream that way. So yeah, thank you all for all that have followed. You can find my YouTube down below, other links as well. We had a couple of one sub as well, so that was quite nice. And yeah, now that I'm hopefully out of the danger zone in terms of getting spoiled for things, then we'll be getting back to the regular stream schedule of every other day as well. So yeah, you can look forward to World of Warships next. So wherever you are, have a good evening, and I shall see you next time.